Yeah, so I'm just going to read a brief bio. This is a summarized bio of Jessica Randall, and she's a whole lot more than this. We are just trying to fit her into a couple of sentences so that you guys can have a feel of who she is. Jessica is a master's student and a tech savvy leader. She's an alumni of Microsoft and Google, a Golden Key member, and a UWC mentorship coordinator. She's also a crowdsourced influencer. Jessica is very passionate about community and tech, particularly interested in driving positive changes in our continent, Africa, of course, and solving global problems. So, Jessica, did that do justice to who you are?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Great. So, if you are ready now, you can just go ahead.
Okay, so
Uh,
good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be able to speak to you guys today about professional communities, the springboard for personal growth. So, when I was thinking about this topic, I thought of a diver and they have to jump on the board to go higher to do like something amazing when they dive off the board. So, I've pictured that when I was planning my talk, and I'm really excited to share more insights that I had with this topic. Okay, so um, the previous speaker gave a very wonderful introduction to me, so I'm not going to say much, but I'm passionate about communities, as you mentioned, and I really love serving the community, and I like how the community works, and I'm just really passionate about tech and tech communities. And there are many other leadership roles that I have, but it's not important. You can find me via LinkedIn, via this link. I'll try and put it in the chat. And then on X, or formerly known as Twitter, at just JessZA, and then Instagram at MathsGeek 1998 13. Yeah. So I feel like we need to first like describe what is a professional community, or basically a community that has professionals in it. Basically, it's groups or networks of individuals who share a common profession, interest, or field of expertise. And basically, they are essential for fostering collaboration, sharing knowledge, and they support personal and professional growth. So I'm just going to give an example. GDG is one of them. Um, any others type of community that's one of them is Kotlin Kenya, um, Android 254, anything that any type of community that has a common profession. So for Android 254, it's all the Android people. For Kotlin Kenya, it's all the people that are Kotlin developers or interested in Kotlin or have fields of expertise. And then for GDG, there's like a whole different um different people with lots of different expertise. Like you get people in cloud, ML, AI. It's just a very like the variety is very very broad. So that's just a nice definition of what a professional community is, and I thought it would be interesting to define it first. So I also wanted to look at like why you should join one or many. So I belong to many professional communities, and people always ask me like why do you join so many, and like how do you know which one is the right one for you. um, I will just briefly explain what that process looks like. So for me, when I think about joining like a professional community, I think of more of like what I can give, but also also get. So it's like it's a different type of transaction when you join a professional community. So people always think like, I'm going to get a job immediately from this, but it's not like that. It's more like it's a different type of currency or transaction when you join professional community. So when I join the communities that I join, I always think of, okay, so what do I need to work on, or what can I gain from? But then what also do I have to give in return for the things that I gain. So yeah, that's how I would pick my professional communities. And then why you should join one or many, because you can get some qualities or development of skills from another, but get a completely different skill set from a different one. And then you get maybe career opportunities from the one, but not from the other. And so I joined many because I find that it just gives me a wider reach into what I'm looking for. I hope that I'll explain later about what I mean by that. So yeah, that's how I'd say joy one or many, depending on what you're looking for in terms of personal growth, but be intentional about it. So professional communities are great. They're amazing. They have absolutely everything you could ever think that you want, but you need to know who to ask and you need to know where to look within those communities. And you can't be like, how do I say this, a one hit wonder. It doesn't work like that. Um, you have to like be actively involved or invested within the community. I'm not saying like you must be like fully, but it's where you can be, it shows. And then when people see your interest or that you're really interested, they will reply in the same way, or offer things in the same capacity at which you are contributing to the community. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I mean about, that's how you should look at professional communities. So there are 10 reasons why you should join them. I'm just going to briefly discuss each one because all of them are important and I'm sure you all know, but we're going to do like a deep dive into it. So, number one, obviously, is networking opportunities. You get to meet people from a lot of different environments, in a lot of different tech spaces or spaces in general, that kind of cultivate your networks as well. So you will be building your networks and the people you interact with. Obviously, the second one is knowledge sharing. So by knowledge sharing, I mean like you could be working on something and say maybe no one in your team knows how to like look at something or understand something. And then you meet someone at the community and they are like very interested in this and they like are an expert in it. And then you ask them, look, do you mind helping me with this? And then they will be able to help you. A classic example is I think one of my friends is deploying like a Flutter SDK, and it's like not working, and wasn't working, or the code wasn't working. And he went to DoyCon Uganda, and one of the speakers is a Flutter expert. And he asked him, like, can you please maybe look at this? I can send you a dummy code version. And that's how he managed to get help from someone, and it's not necessarily in your work environment. So that's kind of something that community gives you. It gives you a wider reach than your like work team. Three is career development. So I don't know, but I've heard that jobs or well opportunities is also comes a lot from referrals. And if you know the right people, then you get lots of referrals. But the right people are always in professional communities or communities in general. Number four is support and mentorship. So they will always you'll manage to find someone that will help you or has a common interest in the things that you want, and they will support and offer to mentor you, or anything that comes to mind that they can think of will share with you. Um, Number five is professional identity and credibility. So the nice thing about professional communities is if you like get really involved in those communities, then their partners or professional people that they work with will also take note of that, and then you are building like a professional identity and credibility through those interactions. Collaboration and innovation is pretty self-explanatory, but basically you get to work with people on different projects and you get to innovate. Like you get to work with someone and say, look, I want to do this, or how do you think I can do this? And it's really fun and exciting. Advocacy and representation. So sometimes it's really hard to find people that kind of think of tech the same way you do, as like, yeah. So when you are within a professional community, you find representation and you find people that you can easily communicate with. Number 8 is conferences and events. Obviously, you get to know of different conferences and events. And I actually got this talk from a friend of mine that I met at the Google SSA Summit. And that's how I got to be able to speak to you guys about this. And then number 9, obviously, you have online and offline platforms as well. Online works amazing because when you join these communities, you just get like a flood of all the different offers and all the different things happening. But you just have to be smart about how you use those platforms, because you can use it to your advantage. And then diversity and inclusivity. So the communities are really diverse and inclusive. And just for example, I am not really, I wouldn't describe myself as a techie, but I'm a mathematician, like slash Android dev beginner. So very welcome in the space. And I feel like because I'm able to speak about it, lots of people are feel comfortable and are actually asking me, so how do I get into this space? And I feel um, that that's amazing to see, that they feel comfortable to now join tech. So before we like get into like the actual question, I just want to like define personal growth. So personal growth is like the process of developing new skills, attitudes, actions, or any type of reactions that can have a positive impact on your life and increase your overall well-being. So personal growth can mean anything from your personal brand, it can mean anything from your social skills, or anything that makes you feel like you are a better person. So it's different for everyone, but that's like how I would describe it. So the big question is, how does professional communities become a springboard for personal growth? So in I'm just going to give like a little summary of that. So I feel like professional communities challenge you in the way that the workspace doesn't necessarily. So when you join like a professional community, you are challenged to determine whether you would use the community for for personal growth or not. So I feel like within the community you have to be like really open minded. Like, do you really want personal growth, or what type of personal growth do you want? There's lots that you can get from the professional community, like from building your personal brand, which is really hard to do, but the community kind of drives you to do that, which makes you a better person individually, if that makes sense. It gives you confidence individually. Um, it also helps you, like, yeah, building confidence, any type of skills that you don't necessarily like think that you are building. So, like, when you meet with different people within the community, you are forming relationships. You naturally become better at relationships and managing them and interacting with people from different backgrounds and different races and different cultural backgrounds, which makes you a better person socially, um, as well. So, like, that's an aspect of personal growth. And also, like, anything to do with the passions that you like or have. So, there's lots of people that are passionate about speaking, and then maybe they have the opportunity to speak within the community, and that gives you like a stage, it's an opportunity, and then you get to learn how to be a speaker, and they give you tips and they give you feedback. So I feel like all the passions or interests that you do have outside of your professional job or position, you can come to the community with, and they will find a way to bring out the best, bring out the best in you, even if it's not quite related to like what they do. Because the community is kind of like a family, and they want to support you. So it doesn't matter what it is, really, they kind of shape you and are open to what you want to achieve personally. So that's how it's the springboard for personal growth. Obviously, it depends what you want to grow personally in, but I'm just going to give like some examples that might make it a bit clearer for some people on the call. So um, I'll just give an example, but I'm not trying to like speak about myself the most, but yeah. So the example is um, speaker. So I knew that I wanted to be a speaker. I just didn't know like how to get started or like where to get started. So um, I started doing like, like normal soft topics. And it was actually GDG Soweto that asked me, do you mind um, like maybe doing like an Android talk? Or do you have a topic that you think you would like to speak on? And then I actually submitted an Android talk because I thought, okay, let's make my Android debut. Let's see what it's going to be like. So then I submitted it and they said, okay, we're happy with the topic. It's really beginner friendly. Okay, you got it. This is the date. Will you be available? Would you like to speak on this day? And I said, cool, yes. But I mean, if I didn't have that support or someone saying, would you like to? There's an opportunity. I don't think I would have done it. So I feel like they push you in the right direction and they drive you towards your goals or passions, um, either like indirectly or directly, because they didn't know that I wanted to be a speaker. So it was more like, okay, I felt like this is a chance for me, let's try it. And ever since then, I've never looked back. And now I am, I wouldn't say a well known speaker, but I speak at many events. And it's always a privilege and an honor to do that. So that's just an example of how I used the community to kind of springboard my personal growth as a speaker. Because now I don't just do public speaking for Android, I do public speaking for anything tech, I do public speaking for like professional and personal development. On Friday, I'm going to be moderating a panel for Anita Borg. So I'm getting like a more diverse um, ladder of growth in terms of being a professional public speaker within the tech community. So that's a good example of how professional communities can be a springboard for personal growth. And I feel like because of that, I've become a more confident person. I'm more sociable in a very good way. And I've like become out of my shell because I was very introverted. Um, So yeah, that's an example of how professional communities can kind of ignite um, a fire within you for personal growth. And yeah, so that's just an example. But there are many other different examples. Like if I know of many developers that didn't ever think about being a developer, and someone just said, "Don't you think you should be a developer?" And then they were like, "Okay, I'll give a shot." And now they are like probably one of the best developers I know. Um, or someone just encouraging you to write an article and say like, why don't you just write the article and see how it goes? And then now they are like one of the best writers that I know for articles. So I feel like, yeah, communities are important, um, and they push you in the right direction, but you also have to be open to what they have to say. And you also need to know what kind of direction you want and what you want to grow personally in. Because if you don't know that, then you don't know how they can help you to get there. And maybe you just need support. Maybe you just need to know where to start. Maybe you just need to know how should I think about getting a job if that's how you see that as personal growth. Um, yeah, so personal growth is very subjective. It's anything that touches you personally. And that definition is how I see it because everyone has a different view of what is personal growth for them. For me, it's always skills, actions, attitudes, things that I want to be, things that I see will make me a better person. So, just for example, the tech community has made me a more positive person. I believe in myself more and I am more confident through the activities of public speaking, writing articles, learning to be vocal about my achievements. That's just a very short example. But yeah, I hope it gives some more clarity on that aspect. Yeah, so that is just like a short summary of why do you think, I mean, how professional communities can be a springboard for growth. Um, and then it's a very open ended question. So I thought I would start with the question and I wanted to like hear from the audience what they think or do they have any ideas of something that they wish to develop personally that they're not quite sure how to use the professional community for and how I can assist with that. So the floor is
Oh,
open.
all right, all right, right. Really, really, that was insightful and eye-opening. Thank you so much, Jessica, for that. Um, I had to take notes because I was listening to some really major, some key takeaways, and I just could not let them go away. So that was an eye-opener. And if anybody has any question, you can just signify in the chat box, or I think there's a Q and A. There's a Q and A session. So I'm just going to start it now. So you can drop your questions in the Q&A feature. You can just swipe down the options below and you can just go into the Q&A and drop your questions there and I would read them out for you and Jessica will do justice to them. So while I wait for your questions, I'm just going to um, go over some of the things I have learned um, from what Jessica has said so far, and it started from the 10 things that would make you join one or more communities. As someone that is in a lot of communities, I agree with all of them, and especially the networking opportunities, the knowledge sharing, the collaboration. Uh, these are very important points, and they are more than enough reasons for you to join communities. And then also the part that said professional communities challenge you to grow professionally, um, and you need to be open-minded and decisive about your growth. All of those things come together to ensure that you make the most out of the professional community that you're in. And yeah, and summarily, it's just knowing what you want to do, knowing what you need will help you make the most of these professional communities because you can just, if you do not really know what you need, you don't really know what you want, you can get swayed from here to there by a lot of updates on the group and you don't know which one you want to go with. So knowing what you want to do also It's going to make it's going to help you make the most rather out of professional communities. Okay, so there's a question in the Q&A, and this is from Muhammad Abubakar, and it says, "How does one blend in to a community? How does one blend into a community as a new member of a community, I assume?"
Oh, probably isn't you. Okay. Um. Okay. So I would say to blend into a community. Um. Number one, don't be anything but not yourself. I think like that is like the number one thing. Um. Don't feel peer pressure to be anything that you are not. Um. So be true to yourself and obviously all the things that you value. And then obviously I would say like find people that have similar interests to you, even if they do a completely different type of tech stack or tech thing or like tech community tech technology thing. Um and just build like trust or like relationships with people that are sustainable. Um yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay. Okay, here's a follow-up question. We say if you're in a community and you are a welcome as such to youth in certain backgrounds, how do you make how do you how do one make them comfortable with you? Okay. So I'm gonna be very honest and very clear. If you feel like you aren't like welcomed and you try obviously to be very nice and like very like like a very friendly person and they still don't like want to welcome you or be comfortable with you, I would say try to look for a place that is welcoming and comfortable, even if it doesn't have like maybe some of the stuff that you want. You can rather build some of the stuff that you want so that you can be that for other people also. Because there are lots of communities that I want to say are like exclusive. Um, yeah, there are lots of communities that are exclusive, but you just need to find one that fits for you. And if that one isn't for you, then I would say just find something that is for you. You have to be happy within a community. You shouldn't feel like you are not welcomed, and it's very sad that it could happen. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. Or yeah, very well.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Jessica. Okay, do you want me to read the questions so that it can be interactive, or do you just want to read the questions and answer them?
Uh, I don't mind. Either way works.
Okay, okay. So let me read the questions for you then. So there's one from Miriam Adegoke, which goes, how can I contribute meaningfully to a tech community? How can I contribute meaningfully to a tech community?
Okay. Um, so I would say meaningful contributions can take on like many forms. And you shouldn't feel like you have to be like on the organizing committee or you have to be a volunteer or you have to be any of those things. But if you can like find a community that has like maybe um I know Kotlin Kenya no Android 254 has an open source repository um for their application, and then if you would really like to like contribute towards that, that's like I would say another way of contributing that is via code that is meaningful. um but I would say ask the community what activities or what aspects are available, and ask how you can contribute, given your certain skill set or anything that you have. Um, I know what you mean by meaningful, but I feel like every contribution should be considered as important by the community because it's important, irrespective of what it is. I mean, the person's giving time, effort that makes every contribution important. Um, but I would say if you want it to be meaningful, it should be something that resembles or resonates with what you can offer, and it will make you feel like you gave something of yourself that is really important. Um, yeah, I hope that helps with what you, yeah, with the, I hope it answers the question.
All right, thank you, Jessica, for that. Um, I like the fact that you mentioned that every contribution should be considered meaningful by the community. Yeah, and it's also important to take note of the community guidelines because being in a couple of tech communities myself, I have realized that sometimes some activities, some discussions are um, violations of some community guidelines. So just take note of the community guidelines. They are usually in the, I think, group description. So you can just take note of those and then try to abide by those. But anything outside, anything within the guidelines, I believe they should be considered meaningful contributions. Thank you, Jessica, again. Okay. Next, we have one from Iman Kola Mustafa. So she says, or she's asking that in a community that has a lot of members, what are the ways you can make yourself stand out from others? In a community that has a lot of members, how can you stand out?
Okay. Okay, this is very hard to like answer because um I come from a very small tech community at the moment. But I've visited communities that are quite huge or quite large. So an example is probably GDG Nairobi. So I would say the best way to stand out in a community with a lot of members is to do something that you love in the way that you love showcasing it. Um, and obviously share what you love as well. So because when you love something and you share what you love, it shows naturally that you really love what you're doing. Um, and there's no like specific way of how to stand out. I would say make sure that you continuously network because if you continuously network while you do all of those things, you eventually will have like a name for yourself as well. So it's all got to do with branding at some stage. So how well you brand yourself is how well you will stand out, and authentic branding works. Um, yeah, it really works. So, for example, I hate giving examples, but I have to just clear. Um, so, for example, I have what you call I have like my like personal branding in terms of like I write articles. Everyone writes articles, but no one writes an article the way I write an article, and no one showcases the article the way I showcase the article. I only really post them on Twitter. I use relevant people in my articles that have taught me amazing advice, given me amazing guidelines, and have guided me through some of like the worst and best moments of my life. So I know that whatever I'm giving is authentically me, and no one can really up that, or no one can really do what I do in that way. And that's how I stand out amongst all the people that write articles. Um, when I give talks, or when I have to um, give talks, yeah, when I have to give talks. So, example, GDG Nairobi Dev Fest was one of them. The way I prepare for a talk or create content It might be the same content as any other person that has ever created content, but the way I interpret it is very different, or the way that I explain it is very different. And that's what people like about my talks. It's a completely different perspective. And I'm like still getting to know my audience and like what they like, but they seem to really like how I deliver them. Um, and like slowly, I have built a brand for that. And I can't stop getting offers to do speaking, and so a it's not a short process. So I would say it is a long process, but as long as you love what you're doing, then it will always come. Whatever you seek will always come back to you. And um, networking is a part of the process. Personal branding is a part of the process. Um, but I think just being uniquely you works, because everyone's trying to be a certain way, but unique branding works. Uh, I hope that answers the question.
All right, thank you, Jessica, for that. Thank you. I like the fact that you emphasized on personal branding because that is very important. Because to stand out, uh, you have to do outstanding things. You have to set yourself apart rather from people. Because if you want to be noticed in the crowd, then you have to do something that will make people notice you. Uh, for being in quite a number of communities that have a lot of community members, uh, I can say that one of the ways to start if you want to go down that path is to actively participate in the community's activities. Conversations on the WhatsApp groups, on participate in conversations on the WhatsApp groups, attend their events, ask questions. Sometimes even if you don't have questions, just look for one and ask. If they notice that you're asking question every event, they would start expecting you because they know okay, there's someone that comes to ask questions. Engage their social media platforms, the Twitter, follow them, like their posts, retweet, um, um, drop comments, even if the comments are just emojis, just make them notice you. They would know that there's someone that's always doing all of these things. And then when they call for volunteers, volunteer, just actively participate. That's one way to go about it. And another way to go about it is by just setting yourself apart aside the active participation, uh creating a niche for yourself in your field where if people think of something, they think of you already. For instance, if yeah, someone like myself that is into data science and yeah, just working on medical technology related projects and writings, and you keep posting them there, and you keep posting them there. Every time they think of medical technology related data science projects or topics, they think of you. So just put yourself out there, drop your project links, engage other people's project links also. So you don't just come and drop yours then disappear. So that people will also engage yours. So uh and on and on and on. So active participation, creating a personal brand for yourself. Those are two key ways to go about it. So thank you so much, Jessica, for that. Do we have any other questions? I do not see any other questions. So in the chat box, they have appreciated your answers, and I'm appreciating your answer also. It's nice to hear from you. You can drop your you wanted to drop some links in the chat box earlier. You can drop them now.
Oh, okay. We just drop. We just. I'll drop my LinkedIn, and then my Twitter. And
Okay. So if I do not want to leave the meeting now to get our um links. So if you just want to follow us, we're on Twitter at CMX Ilorin, and you can find us the same on um Instagram, on LinkedIn also. So there is Jessica's LinkedIn, there's Alex Ando, there's an Instagram Ando. So you guys can do well to follow all of them. So it was great having you here, Jessica. It has been pretty short, concise, straight to the point, impactful, and educating. So to I would love to hear from you soon. Probably attend one of your virtual events, and then I can hear you speak again. So thank you so much, Jessica. Do you have any other deliverable for us that you just want to share before we end the call?
sure. So I just would like to say thank you very much for having me. This talk was, I would say, very challenging because and I had to I really had to think about it in a very good way because I like challenges. But I hope to um, be more a part of your community, and I will definitely follow you on all the other social medias. I only have you on Twitter at the moment, but um, I'm really interested in what you guys stand for and your community, and I hope to be a part of many more virtual events. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you everyone for attending. Since we have a very short list of participants, I can call out names. Nice to have you here, Muhammad Abubakar. Nice to have you here, Abdulrahman Ibrahim. Nice to have you here, Adebimpe Islamia Adefila. Nice to have you here, Rosana Taglabu. Nice to have you here, Khadija. Nice to have you here, Mariam Adegoke. Nice to have you here, Lawal Queen. Nice to have you here, Iman Kola Mustafa. So, if you do not know what CMX is all about, CMX is basically just a community of communities. The C in CMX stands for community, the M stands for management, the X is a wild card. It can be whatever you want it to be. So community management initiative, community management power up, whatever you want it to be. So that's been nice. That's been nice. Um, holding. So we hold a lot of community management based events, sessions. We had a game week, I think last no okay, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and it was fun. We played Scrabble, we played chess. So as much as we are a community based community, we also try to have fun every now and then. And we also had a gaming event last week, also a gaming based event, managing gaming communities. Yeah, the founder of Africa Comic Cage, I think, was the one that came to talk at the event, and it was amazing. It was really fun. Yeah, so just if you're not a CMX team member, you can just follow us on Twitter. I think you should be able to join our WhatsApp group from there, and then we'll have fun together while we learn. So thank you guys for joining. It was really fun being here. So thank you, Jessica. You're welcome. All right. So thank you guys. Bye. See you soon.